Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Police are on the hunt tonight for 2 thieves who robbed a pharmacy on a busy Hobart street this afternoon. It's understood the pair was unarmed at the time and took off with a bag of medication.
Police scour central Hobart from the air as officers remain in the middle of this bustling road at the scene of an alleged robbery.
At about 10 to 2 this afternoon, we had a report of a robbery here at the Terry White pharmacy. Staff had reported that a male and a female had entered that pharmacy and made demands for a quantity of drugs.
It's understood the woman was wearing a grey hooded jacket with the logo, the man described as tall and wearing a black beanie. Police say the unarmed pair made off on foot with the medications.
This is an unknown quantity of medication at this stage. We've got no indications that any weapons were used at all in this.
Police say staff members have walked away uninjured.
Fortunately, there were no injuries, but understandably the staff are very shaken as a result of this today.
Police say the duo took off here along Sandy Bay Road towards King Street, spurring the Hobart-wide search.
We had a number of response vehicles that were made available, and also the use of the police helicopter, which was available at the time to assist in trying to locate the suspects.
Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government is ramping up its coronavirus testing campaign with new walk-in clinics preparing to open. It says these sites will be crucial to lifting Tasmania's restrictions, while others say it's housing that will lead us to recovery.
Clinics like this taking hundreds of coronavirus tests each day, and despite no new cases reported in Tasmania for a week, more pop-up sites are on the way.
Just because we're seeing more people out and about in our streets, just because some activities are able to return, that doesn't mean that we don't have to start thinking about our symptoms.
Announcing new mandatory testing for hospital patients going into aged care homes and any healthcare workers with symptoms. Also testing anyone with respiratory symptoms in the last 7 days. And from next week, a new type of clinic will open at Mowbray and in Glenorchy.
The important thing about these clinics is you won't need to book. This helps break down barriers for people wanting to get tested and ensures that we've got good coverage across our state.
If we want to protect our communities, protect us from a second wave of the virus infection across the northwest coast, then we should really be looking at random testing.
Labor also wanting to see a tailored northwest recovery plan, while the Greens say it's housing that will lead us to recovery, calling for 2,000 new homes to be built over the next 4 years.
We've got a win-win scenario here where government can spend public stimulus funds building new homes, protecting jobs in building and construction and kickstarting the economy.
We've seen a worrying deterioration in the pipeline of work in the construction industry, particularly in the commercial construction space. We've seen redundancies already starting to mount.
As this continues, master builders want further help for businesses in the form of extended payroll tax relief. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has put pressure on the Hobart City Council to push forward with this year's Taste of Tasmania. The council only yesterday said the high cost of the event and need for social distancing would make it difficult to proceed. But the state government has fired back, saying they've provided an additional $500,000 to support the festival, which they say could go forward with adjustments. A woman was taken to hospital in Launceston last night following a collision between her car and an ambulance. Police say the ambulance was attending to an emergency situation with its lights and sirens on when the crash occurred at the intersection of Bathurst and Frederick Streets. The 18-year-old driver of a white hatch has been released from hospital with no significant injuries. The ambulance personnel were uninjured. A flying object in space has lit up the night sky in Tasmania and Victoria overnight. The burst of colour treating those lucky enough to see it, and experts have told us exactly what it was.
Illuminating the sky and leaving shocked onlookers lost for words.
What is that?
A beam of light races through the night, but not before many were able to catch a glimpse of the rare moment. Some instantly had their suspicions.
That's a meteor shower.
Others called it a shooting star. The answer, a Soyuz rocket.
That was launched by the Russians to send a military satellite into orbit.
As the space junk re-entered the atmosphere, parts of debris began to break up, creating the trail of brightness.
It's rare to see something as bright and as significant as that. However, it's estimated that over 200 pieces of space debris, human-made space debris, burn up in the atmosphere every year.
So how did a rocket fired over 12,000 kilometres away captivate our eyes here in Tasmania? The perfect angle.
We're just fortunate to have been able to see this. Many spacecraft that are launched into orbit are on orbits that are less inclined to the equator.
Experts believe it may have crashed into the ocean south of our state, its brief existence leaving many with an incredible tale to tell and the footage to back it up. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
After months in the dark, Launceston's Harvest Market has returned, but like never before. Some food stalls aren't yet allowed on site, with customers forced to undergo strict health precautions.
A moment stall holders have been anticipating for months.
It's great and it's a beautiful sunny day and it's lovely just to talk to people again.
A downsized return to the Harvest Market grounds, one of their biggest weekly moneymakers.
It's a bit quieter, like there's no music, there's not as many people hanging around. It's kind of just a come in, buy your things and go again.
We haven't got the ready-to-eat markets here, so this is purely the fresh produce at the moment.
But the territory comes with new customer restrictions. No taste testers, no touching products, and no cash over the counter.
People have become used to the cashless transactions. Actually, I think they're preferring it.
As well as compulsory hand sanitising upon entry and, of course, strict social distancing.
People know that they have to keep their distance. They know that we have to be careful. That the last 2 months has really drilled that into us.
The market has been closed since March due to the coronavirus, managing to stay afloat by launching an online platform. But organisers say nothing compares to face-to-face sales.
There's a bit of a buzz, which is really nice for a -2 morning to have still a bit of a buzz.
Bigger events like the iconic Salamanca markets haven't scheduled a return date, but with 20-person public gathering limitations in force until July, they may have to wait a lot longer than Harvest before re-emerging.
They have to work out to be socially distanced and to be worked through the COVID-19 guidelines.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has given trainers in the northwest the all-clear to conduct racing trials. The Devonport Showgrounds and Sprayton will be permitted to host trials 2 weeks before racing resumes on June 13. Venues in the northwest will also be allowed to host meetings, subject to an assessment by Public Health.
Good evening. It was a chilly and frosty start to the day. Temperatures dipped to -6 at Lyweenie. Hobart reached 13, Launceston and Devonport 15 and 16 degrees in Burnie. King Island, Smithton and Grove all reached 15, 14 degrees at Flinders Island, Low Head and St Helens, 12 in Strawn and just 6 at Lyweenie. Low-level cloud over the west, south and central areas extending across the east coast and southern Tamar Valley. Low-level cloud across much of Victoria, New South Wales and southern South Australia. A band of mid to level cloud streams across the northeast of the country. Tomorrow, the high pressure system in the Bight will slowly move towards Tasmania, while the low in the Tasman Sea begins to weaken. Winds south to southwesterly 10 to 20 knots, but reaching 30 knots about the northeast. Lighter winds at inland lakes. Seas 1 to 2 metres. A strong wind warning for eastern coastal waters from Cape Portland to Wineglass Bay. Taking a look at tomorrow's forecast now, Hobart 12 and possible showers, 12 in Richmond also, 11 and cloudy in Ouse. Launceston reaching 13 and partly cloudy, 14 and mostly sunny in Devonport, 12 in Deloraine. Burnie a top of 14, sunny, cloudy and 12 in Strawn, cloudy also in Curry. St Helens and Swansea 13, 14 in Whitemark. On Monday, morning frost patches, then fine apart from possible showers about the south and east coasts. Tuesday, possible showers in the east, fine elsewhere, morning frost also. And Wednesday, patches of morning frost in the south, showers in the north, west and central areas, mostly fine elsewhere. Around the country tomorrow, 21 and rain in Perth, Sydney 18 and a few showers there, 29 in Darwin, Melbourne 14 degrees and 22 and mostly sunny in Brisbane. And it's currently 11 degrees in Hobart, mostly cloudy, Launceston 9 and Devonport 8. And that's all in weather for your Saturday night, Rach.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that, Letitia. Well, before we leave you tonight, Bonnarong Wildlife Sanctuary has shared 3 orphan Tassie Devil Joeys having a chat with their carers. For Callie and Wish now taking part in a study. So cute while they're so little. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Speak to them.